Hello friends, THRU here, coming to you from New York City. This video has been long awaited. I conceived of this idea back in June and sent 11 questions to about 20 of my hiker friends. And over the course of the months, they were sending me their responses. A couple of them are on the trail over the summer and answering then while they were still in process, and some waited until they were home and answered then. So the first question I asked was, why did you make the decision to attempt a through hike of the Appalachian Trail? So some of these hikers finished the trail and got all the way to Katahdin, and some were forced off or chose to step off before they reached their final goal. And I wanted those answers to be included because 75–80% of people who attempt the trail don't complete it. So I think their insight will be valuable to you as you step out there to see what caused people to step off and what was going on in their head. There are 11 questions total. This is question number 1. Why did you decide to attempt a through hike of the Appalachian Trail? So stay tuned for 10 more questions that will be answered over the next month or so. Some of the answers are pretty funny and some of them are very poignant. So here's some of my friends that I can introduce you to, and their links are below. If they do have social media, feel free to connect with them. Alrighty, here we go.
Hi everybody, Spielberg here, and today I'm going to answer why I decided to attempt a through hike of the Appalachian Trail in 2016, and it really came about from childhood actually. I was in 3rd grade when my family moved to the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, and I remember I was on a class trip with my class, and we were in the woods somewhere, and the teacher told us about this trail that we were passing where people actually hiked on this trail, starting in the south and hiked all the way nearly to Canada. And I remember being fascinated by that whole concept, especially because I was afraid of the woods and would remain so for many decades until my actual through hike. So fast forward to 2013, I hiked the Camino and fell in love with long distance hiking. And so the Appalachian Trail was kind of the next thing on the docket, so to speak. And I prepared for a few years and worked it out with work, so I was able to do it, and I was very fortunate to be able to complete my through hike in 2016. So I was continuing this new passion I had for long distance hiking, and also was quite literally facing my fear of the woods, which you kind of have to get over when you're on the Appalachian Trail. So.
Prairie Dog, the first question is, why did you make the choice to attempt a through hike of the Appalachian Trail?
Well, I had started backpacking when I was about 16 or 17 years old, and I went to Cumberland Island in Georgia for my first backpacking trip, and ever since then I was hooked. And from that point on, I had the goal to hike the Appalachian Trail. And with going to college and stuff, it took a little longer than I wanted it to, but after college was a great chance for me to get away. And there was some aspect of maybe trying to find myself, as people say, but I was really just looking for the most fun time of my life, which proved to be true, so I really had fun.
Yay.
Okay, well, I made the choice to attempt a through hike on the Appalachian Trail because I thought that it would be, to do a long trail, it would be the easiest one as far as being marked and resupply, and it was heavily traveled, and so I thought it would be easier. The terrain wasn't exactly easy, but I thought it would be easier than to do any of the other big trails.
That's a pretty good question, actually. I've never done any backpacking or anything like this before in my entire life. However, once I moved to North Carolina, I was in the mountains and moved by all the hiking and mountains and just beautifulness out here. And I stepped foot on the Appalachian Trail for the first time in Max Patch back in July of 2017. And I had known about the Appalachian Trail, but didn't really quite understand what a through hike entailed. And it was just something that, I'm not even really sure how to put it into words. It was just something that I wanted to prove to myself that I could physically and mentally do. The further I got into research, I just couldn't stop, and I knew I was going to do it or attempt it, one of the two. So I'm not sure. think that's a pretty good answer, but that's all I got. I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do something like that. And I knew 500 miles in that I could physically do it and then mentally do it as well. So I just kept going. So that's a pretty simple answer. It's not very loaded. There was no exact reason why I did it. I just wanted to prove myself I could do something like that. And I think I did. So there you go. Answer number 1.
Hello, this is Sir Mead, and the reason that I decided to hike the Appalachian Trail was my parents raised me with a big sense of adventure, and for 5 years I lived on a sailboat. So after the sailboat, I went to college, and with those 4 years of living in one place, I decided that I needed the next big adventure. So when I visited my parents in Georgia, they drove me up to see Neal's Gap. And that's when I decided that the Appalachian Trail was that next big adventure.
Hey there, John Goes Places here, aka Survivor. So I just wanted to talk with you about why I chose to do my through hike. So in 2009, my mom got into a car accident at the age of 37 and passed away. In 2018, I got into a car accident and should have passed away because my car was completely totaled very badly. And with turning 30, I just realized that I wasn't too far off from when my mom passed away, and that life is super short, and I had wanted to do all this traveling, and I hadn't been able to do it. So I sold everything that I own, and I booked my flight to Georgia, and I started my through hike, and that's when my through hiking career began.
Okay, well, we were on the Long Trail in 2017 and went through a pretty terrible family tragedy. So we had to get off early because of that. And for about the following year and a half, just really, both of us were not in a good place mentally or emotionally. And I came home one day and I said to Jay, what if we through hiked? And I was not being 100% serious. It was more of just like, I think deep down, I knew that something needed to give. And he looked at me and was like, I'll go to my boss and ask. I was like, Jay, we're not through hiking the whole Appalachian Trail. And about a week later, I was at the gym and he texted me and he was like, HR said it's fine. My boss said it's fine. I have 6 months off of work.
That's exactly how it happened. It was pretty crazy.
That's literally how it happened. So
yeah, I said I have the time off. Get on board.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going. So I did not end up going to my job until the following September, in September of 2018. And I, sat down, was really honest with my principal and the rest of my administration just about like what had happened to our family and everything that had happened, because there's a lot of other stuff that happened in the aftermath that maybe we'll share eventually, but we haven't as of yet. And I just said, like, I really need to be with him and I really need to do this. And they were okay with it, which is kind of shocking, but they were.
Hi everyone, my name is Patches. I first heard about the AT and through hiking about 5 years ago, and I loved the idea. I grew up camping, I really like being outside, and I kind of got a habit of wandering and exploring. So 6 months of that sound like the best adventure to me. So this year, I decided to attempt a through hike of the AT. I really wanted to challenge myself, test my limits, and see what I was capable of. And what better way to do that than try and hike 2,000 miles up and down mountains?
Question 1, why did I attempt to through hike the AT? Back in 2014, in the fall of 2014, I went to a lecture at the University of Buffalo near my home. And the lecturer was Cheryl Strayed, who wrote Wild. And the movie had not come out yet, but she talked about her hike on the CDT, and I bought her book, read the book, and after reading her book is what really got me going on doing the AT hike. And also, I'm a cycle tourist, and it's been getting a little dangerous lately, biking with everybody texting and driving. And I've had a few near misses over the last 5 years, so I thought I'd try doing backpacking and see how that would go. And I did. I thru hiked and summited on September 18th.
The hiking of the Appalachian Trail has been a lifelong dream of mine, even as a teenager when I saw a sign in Newfoundland Gap, and the idea that you could walk from Maine to Georgia I thought was great. So I tried it the first time in 1978, didn't make it very far. So the next 40 years I was busy working, but we sold our house and bought a truck and a camper, and our life was in transition. So what better way of life in transition than to hike the Appalachian Trail?
Well, I was not going to drive the fifth wheels, so my choice was get out there with Pop and hike with them. So that's what we did together.
Sounds great.
Hi, I'm Sweet.
Hi, I'm the Beast. In 2019, we thru hiked the Appalachian Trail. We made the choice to make an attempt to thru hike the Appalachian Trail because we wanted to do something different in our lives, to challenge ourselves and to
take a break of our job.
Also, we wanted to meet new people and live a different experience in living in the woods and traveling with our backpacks. What about you?
Same thing.
Hey everybody, my name's Wilson, trail name's Wilson, like the volleyball from Castaway. So, why did I decide to hike the Appalachian Trail? It's been something that's been growing and gaining steam over about the last 15 years. I decided to hike the trail primarily for two reasons. I spent 32 years in law enforcement, and the first reason was, you know, after that amount of time, there's a lot of ugliness and scenes and just nastiness that you see over the years that just builds up. And I knew that a common theme for a lot of retiring veterans is that those things tend to come out at the end of the career. You can keep them suppressed for just so long. So I thought the Appalachian Trail would be a good place to have some quiet time, to process a lot of that and decompress, put them in their place, put them behind me, and by the time I was to Katahdin, I had dealt with them. So that was the first reason. It's mostly mental. The second reason was physical. A lot of people in my profession retire into an easy chair. They then live a sedentary life, which becomes a short life. I wanted to set the bar, the standard pretty high on being physical and active in my retirement, so I would have a better quality of life through retirement. So I thought Appalachian Trail would be perfect to set a pretty high standard, and that is going to help me springboard into a lot of other activities that I enjoy doing once I get done here. Road races, triathlons, diving, shooting, all kinds of pretty active stuff. So mostly physical and mental were the reasons I decided to hike the trail, and it's been great so far.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
We're the Wander Women, and we're going to answer the questions. The first one was, why did we attempt to do the AT thru hike? Why did we?
Why did we? My God.
I don't know.
Partly because we're Westerners. So
Yeah.
we have spent most of our travel time, like when we were working, we always went hiking and backpacking in the Western states. So like Utah and Colorado and Wyoming, and we know those places pretty well, or we know Western United States pretty well. So we thought, oh, this would be a great way to see those Eastern
Yes.
states.
And we love backpacking.
And to experience it that way.
And we had time. So
Yep.
we're
And we wanted to
retired,
do
could
something.
it.
Yeah, we wanted to do something really hard.
Yes.
And be out there for a long period of time, just see how we do.
Yeah, kind of to experience that the big multi-month kind of experience. Sounded cool.
Yep.
That was our reason.
That's our reason, and we're glad we did. Loved every minute of it.
We're sticking to it.
Hey there, Grasshopper. Alright, let's have a go at your questions. Why did I make the choice to attempt a through hike of the AT? Well, I guess with through hiking in general, I'd read A Walk in the Woods, I'd seen the film of Wild, and I really wanted to know what it would be like just to spend days, weeks, months at a time where all I had to worry about was packing up my tent, putting one foot in front of the other, and eating occasionally. I wanted to know what it was like having that quiet and just that freedom. I chose the AT in particular because I'd done multi-night backpacking before, but never anything of this extent. And so, especially having flown over from Australia, I just thought the AT would probably be a bit more forgiving. I didn't have to worry so much about food drops, things like that, and if I needed to take time off, it was going to be easy to get to a town. Yeah, something like that.
So first one is, why did I decide to through hike the AT? Well, I've always wanted some sort of epic outdoor adventure, and by epic I mean epic, and so that had been in the back of my head for decades. In 2010, the movie The Way came out, and I saw it shortly thereafter, and there was just something about that movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a special movie, but it just put in me, it sort of added on to that desire for an epic outdoor adventure. I want to walk a long distance. And finally, I became extremely dissatisfied with my work situation. I felt I was having to compromise my sense of ethics, I guess, my integrity, by being where I was at. So I just sat down one day and decided I'm out of here and I'm going to hike the AT.
First question, why did you make the choice to attempt a through hike of the AT?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Become rich.
Okay, I made the choice to attempt a through hike of the AT because I wanted to challenge myself, and it had been a dream of mine to complete the trail for, I would say, approximately 3 or 4 years. So I just wanted to hike the AT to experience what everybody was talking about in the books that I read. I wanted to see what it was like, and I just wanted to take a break from life, honestly, and just know what it felt like to be free out in the wilderness, in the wild.
I did it solely for the challenge and the adventure.
Yeah.
Is that basically what you said?
Pretty much.
Hi, I'm Lucky Penny, coming from Danville, Kentucky. Why did I make the choice to attempt a through hike? Back in 2014, I think I saw like a post on Reddit about the Appalachian Trail, and I never heard anything about it prior to that. And originally I had all these romantic views that I discovered myself, and maybe discover what I wanted to do with my life. Eventually it just seemed like a really cool thing, and I got the opportunity to do it, so I took that shot. One of the largest obstacles I had overcome.
Hi, I'm Snake Eyes, and I decided to attempt an AT through hike for many different reasons. A couple of them being I was looking for a way to challenge myself, a way that I've never been challenged before. I was looking for an adventure. I was kind of wanting to get out of my daily work routine, and I wanted to take advantage of my youth and my physical ability while I still had the ability to.
Hi, Puck Carey here. I decided to attempt a through hike of the AT basically because I've been aware of the trail since I was a child, and I'd never met someone who actually was a through hiker, and I'd never met anybody who completed the trail in one continuous journey. So sounded like a really neat challenge. I was very aware of, well, as much as you can be without having done it first. You know, there'll be physical challenges, snakes, bears, weather, carrying a heavy pack or a pack with your food, etc. So it sounded like a really neat challenge. And then, you know, started doing the YouTube video thing, watching previous through hikers and learning, researching how to go about this challenge. And yeah, I was hooked, and I was blessed to retire early with good health, and that's why I decided to do my 2019 through hike of the AT.
Hey, all y'all out there. My name is Disciple, and THRU is asking some of us hikers, why did we go out there and hike the Appalachian Trail? Boy, that's a great question. I imagine you're going to get a lot of different answers. And for me, it's probably different than most. I am a follower of Jesus. That's why my name is Disciple. And so for me, I feel like I was called to go out there and get on the trail and hopefully complete the whole thing as a way of being, I guess, a presence for the Lord out there in the mountains. And so I went out and hiked because I felt like I was called to do so by God himself. And so I was able to do it and complete it and had an amazing experience. So there's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, THRU. So the answers to your video questions. Why did I decide to come hike the trail? I've been working the same job since I graduated college about 12, 13 years ago, and realized if I was going to keep working that job for the next 30 years, I probably wasn't going to make it. So we'll call it a midlife crisis. And this is the complete opposite of what I was doing, so I decided it'd be a good way to start the second half of my life.
So the reason why I wanted to do a through hike was because my friends had gotten me into hiking 5 years ago, and they only hiked for 2 summers. And I was desperate to get back out on the trail because I found it beautiful and peaceful, and I just enjoyed being out there. Well, then I had to wait for my senior dog to pass, and she passed in November. So I was able to jump on the computer, start looking for gear, and start preparing my family for what I was about to do. And I figured if I went out in the bubble, I'd be with a lot of people. So I was on the trail by March.
Hello, my name is Jaws, and I successfully hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2018 at the ripe age of 50. Not bad for a guy my age who had never hiked a day in his life. And I've often been asked, hey, why did you do that at 50? And that was a big thing to do. Well, kind of started 4 years before that, when I kind of say I found myself in a little bit of a rut. 46 years old, approaching 50, divorced, no children, kind of living life, doing a lot of things, but a lot of things by myself. Things weren't changing, so I decided that I needed a change. And for me, the best way to make a change was to basically do a whole reset. So when I saw the movie 4 years prior to my hiking, A Walk in the Woods, that gave me an idea that I could go ahead and do something. I'd like to do things that are athletic, and I thought about it for 2 years. And then when I was 48 years old, I said, that's it. When I'm 50, I'm going to head out and hike the trail. So for 2 years, I saved some money. I let my employer know my intentions well in advance. And then in 2018, at age 50, I went and quit my job, and I headed on down to Georgia, and I hiked the trail. And let me tell you, it was the best adventure I ever did, and I'd love to do it again sometime. And if you get out there and you have the opportunity to hike the trail, you'll never regret it.
I hope you enjoyed those answers, and stay tuned. The next video will cover the question of what obstacles did you encounter in order to get to the trailhead on day number 1.